Hey guys, and welcome to today's edition of Ace This Recipe. I'm Chef Jason Morse, your Ace Hardware grilling expert, and I'm here in colorful Colorado, where I'm not even kidding you. About 3 minutes ago, it was gorgeous and sunny, and now it's a combination of snow and little weird pellets of frozen stuff. So I guess we're gonna have fun, and it can be as cold as it wants outside, because inside we have this for you today. We are doing beef ribs, not just any beef ribs. We are going to do a nice, beautiful coffee crusted beef rib on that right there, the Traeger ironwood. We've got our reserve blend pellets. We're gonna show you how to get that all fired up and ready to go. We're gonna show you how to do a hack on our rub-a-dub and make a gorgeous coffee rub. We're gonna do a fun little spritzer with our sprayer with some beef stock and some fire honey as well. I'll tell you, I'm excited, beyond excited, because in a few short hours, we are going to be devouring these bad boys here. And if you could tell how meaty and juicy they are, I am super, super excited. So today's recipe, head down to that description section where you can click on that arrow. That will expand that section, and you can click, print, and follow along. Add that recipe to your ever-growing collection of Ace This Recipe recipes, right? So that little eye, that's gonna pop up. That is our information station, so from time to time you'll see that. That lets you into the world of gear, gadgets, and grills. It's gonna show you everything about the ironwood. It's gonna talk about reserve blend pellets. It's gonna show you how to use your little home sprayer for beef stock. We've never used this for anything else. This is our sprayer for apple cider and beef stock. It goes on all of our barbecue. It's one of the best tools we sell in the hardware store, next to the 6-in-1 paint tool that we use to clean grills. So thank you for joining us. Let's do a fun little drive-by here, show you some of the ingredients we're gonna use today, get the Traeger started, and then rock and roll. From an ingredient standpoint, not a lot today, right? Because we really, as you know, and I always say, I like to keep it simple, and I really love to let the beef shine because I just enjoy that beef flavor. So let's start off with the seasoning. We're gonna mix into it some rub-a-dub, and then I have some ground instant coffee as well. So we're gonna have a nice little mixture of rub-a-dub and coffee, giving us just a beautiful, overly smoky, wonderful rub that's gonna build a tremendous amount of bark. Then we're gonna make our spritz, which is gonna be beef stock and fire honey, and we'll mix that up into our home sprayer here, give that guy a pump, and now we have a way to spray our ribs every so often. Then, check this out, look at this beef rib. We bought beef short ribs, or the beef rib plate. So we have the lower plate, which is gonna give you just a tremendous amount of meat. And there's two ways you can buy it, right? We bought this whole, right? So we bought the whole plate, and I'm actually going to cut them into ribs. So now I get at 360-degree smoke, 360-degree seasoning, and now I've got, I think, a pretty fantastic dish. Like I said, you can smoke the whole plate, and it's usually going to come 3 to 4 bones per plate. What do I look for? I push down on these guys, and guess what I wanted here? Squishy, right? I wanted some squish in here because it told me not a lot of fat, but a lot of meat. And you can see from that marbling, we went with prime beef ribs today because we wanted a lot of intermuscular fat to really melt out and make these guys super, super tasty. You can see I've already gone ahead and cut these into some beautiful bones, right? These are those dino bones or dino bones that everybody talks about. So here's what I did. I look for the bone, 1, 2. I wanna make sure I go right in between that, and now I'm basically just gonna take my knife, go straight down, and I'm separating these guys into some beautiful, thick, juicy bone pieces. Again, I'm doing it this way because now I can speed up my cook, because this guy will cook a lot faster than a big, long plate. So that is done. I'm gonna let these soften up now for about 10-15 minutes before we get ready to season them. And now it is time to make our rub. So what I'm gonna do, quick and simple, is take some of that rub-a-dub. Right, just like that. And again, you're gonna mix it proportionately. So I've got about a half a cup. I'm actually gonna go ahead and double that because I got a lot of ribs here. So we're gonna add about a cup of rub-a-dub, and then I've got 3 tablespoons of ground coffee in there, and I'm gonna add about 6 tablespoons of ground coffee. Use as much or as little as you like. Now, I'm gonna mix that in. And here's how I know when I've done a good job mixing this in, right? I'm gonna look at the side, and you can tell I still have a little bit of light rub, so I wanna make sure I get this well stirred in and ready to go. Now, that is going to be our coffee rub. So basically we took that rub-a-dub, we added that ground coffee to it, and now we are set and ready to go. We went ahead, got them all cut. So these ribs are all now cut into our beautiful single bone, nice juicy fat beef ribs, right? Short ribs. I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of oil and I'm going to coat this guy all the way through. Nothing crazy. I'll use what I get in the pan as well. And now I'm going to take that coffee rub and give it a good seasoning, right? And then what I'll do is pack that on top. A little bit on this side. And again, I'm using an instant coffee because that instant coffee really does a fantastic job of melting, right? And this is gonna help make just a delicious, beautiful, smoky crust. All right, and we'll season that as well. So now, look at that. Then what I'll do is go through, get that all packed, but look at this, you guys. I've got rub on the top, rub on the side. I'm not worried about the bottom because there's really nothing there. We already peeled the silver skin off, so we're good. And look at that, we are set and ready to go. I'm focusing on that gem of meat that sits up top. We have them all seasoned up, and look at those. See that oil I added on there? Worked great as a binder to help draw this in. That coffee's coming to life, that rub-a-dub is coming to life. I'm gonna go ahead and cover this now, and I'm gonna put this in the fridge, and we'll let this go for about 10 to 12 hours to really let that rub soak into the meat and start building that absolutely gorgeous bark. We're gonna be cooking on the Ironwood 885 today, and I went ahead and loaded it with our reserve blend pellets, that beautiful, beautiful oak apple cherry. Today's temperature for cooking is 250, so we'll hit that, press ignite, and now we are set to go. We have a fresh, nice clean grill. We got that all set and ready to go, so we're starting with a great clean environment so these beef ribs can really absorb some of that wood-fired smoke. Well, the great thing about this sprayer, right? This is one of our home sprayers. Works great in the garden, obviously, but we repurposed this for the purpose of barbecue. So this is now our barbecue sprayer. We washed it, sanitized it, got it all set, and then anytime we cook with it, we always wash it and sanitize it in between uses as well. So we've got it all set. What we're gonna do first, carefully, and hopefully it works with, you guys watching me while I do it. We're gonna pour that beef stock in here, and I've got a quart of beef stock, right? I want to make sure I have more than enough spray to carry me for the ribs. Now, one of the reasons I didn't use beef broth is, if you notice, there's nothing left in the bottom, right? Because beef broth sometimes has some weird particles in it that will clog up the end of your sprayer. So make sure we don't use broth, we use stock. Use a little bit of our fire honey, as much or as little as you want. And I already microwaved this for a little bit. I'm gonna use about half of this bottle just to get a nice little bit of sweetness on there and a tiny bit of heat. And now we'll go ahead and close this up, make sure it's all nice and tight. And now I'm just gonna shake it until I get that beef broth and honey mixed. We are preheated to that 250 degrees. And now I'm gonna go ahead and load these ribs. Now, what I'm gonna do is lay them on their side first because I wanna get some heat up into these ribs, and I want to get them set and start their cooking. Now, if they don't lay flat, flip them on the other side so they can go that way. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to identify the biggest, juiciest rib, and it's this guy. Now, I'm going to stick my probe into the rib as far as I can so I get a nice even reading. Now, we are going to do these for a certain amount of time, more than likely, right? That 6 to 7 hours maybe. However, what I'm also going to do is focus on temperature. So this, to me, is going to be more of a temperature cook now, driving towards that 203 degrees. We are at our first hour. Take a look at those. We're getting a nice crust on there. I'm going to go ahead and pump up my sprayer, give it a good shake, and now we'll adjust that. It is time to spray these guys, right? So what I like to do is soak them, right? I want to get that first side totally soaked and set and ready to go. Now I'm going to shut this, and I'm going to let them go for another hour. So we're now going to be 2 hours in the next time we spray it. Then we will flip them and let them go. We are at hour number 2, so we're going to go ahead and flip these guys a little bit, and look at that. Oh, come on. That looks so beautiful. We're starting to get some really nice color on these guys. Give them a flip, and now we're going to give them their first spray on this side. So we are about 2 hours in, and they've all gotten a nice spray with our beef spray with fire honey. Now, shut the lid. We're gonna keep on cooking. All right, you get the idea now, right? So we're basically spraying these ribs down every hour. And guess what I'm looking for? Look at that. Now we're starting to get a little shrink on the bone. That is exactly what we want. That tells us these guys are cooking up beautiful. They're doing a great job. And remember, if we were cooking these hot and fast, boy, they would shrink up a lot more. We're cooking these bad boys low and slow. So we're gonna let these finish off. We're gonna take them to 203 degrees where it'll be time to rest. And that's where we'll see you next. As we do our little doneness flyover, let's zoom in on that beautiful tasty nugget right there. Look at that. Perfectly done, nice and juicy. We've got a beautiful smoke ring on there. We went a little bit slower, a little bit lower on temperature because we really wanted that fat to render out and these guys to come out beautiful. But those right there are some tasty meatsicles. These guys with the coffee rub came out really nice. And the beauty of that coffee rub is it really pulls that smoke flavor in and really rounds this out quite nicely. I'm very happy with this cook. And again, like we said, I cut these into specific single bone ribs versus cooking that whole plate just because I got that 360 degree smoke and really that 360 degree seasoning and crust and bark as well. So I'm Chef Jason Morse, your Ace Hardware grilling expert. Thanks for hanging out with us here in colorful Colorado, where we started during the day and ended at night because beef ribs, right? So hey, I'll tell you what, if you're looking for today's recipe, you head down into that description section, expand it, click, print, and follow along. You can grab today's recipe, and we've got a ton of content in that recipe for you and tips as well. And then from time to time, that little eye will show up. That's our information station that lets you into the world of gear, gadgets, and grills. It'll tell you the pellets we're cooking with, the grills, the rubs, and everything. Then head down to that comment section, leave us a comment, tell us what would you like to see, how can we be more helpful, and help us create videos that make you that legend in the backyard cooking circuit. Then, your homework as always, tell your friends, tell your family, it is time to subscribe to the Ace Hardware YouTube channel. Click that notification, ring that bell, you'll be notified when all these videos go live, and you can have some major drooling content. Now, we helped you master beef ribs on the Traeger, but you're gonna need some side dishes to go with it. So at the end of this video, be sure to click on the videos we have loaded for you because we're gonna show you how to do baked potatoes on the Traeger and then some amazing Traeger grilled corn as well. I'm Chef Jason Morse, your Ace Hardware grilling expert. Thanks for hanging out and cooking with us. We love cooking with you. We hope you enjoy cooking with us. It is time to take a little bite of tasty meat heaven. Thanks for cooking with us. It's like I don't even know where to start. That is fantastic.